This video is sponsored by Single Point Solution. Single Point is pioneer in production and distribution of electric vehicles like electric bikes, electric scooters and three-wheelers. Single Point also provide consulting services to small F players.
Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmech Technologies. Welcome to Top Brass. And let me also welcome my friend from London, Mr. Neville Gunn.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. And what's the subject for today? What's spiraling round your world today, CK?
Well, I think this is spiraling around the world, not specifically around India. It's a great news that scientists have found traces of certain gases that on the Venus, in the atmosphere of Venus, and those gases can come in the first place if there are life basically is present in the atmosphere of Venus. So this is very exciting amongst the scientific community.
Well, I'm sure, the scientists have been here for years, and forget all of the Area 51 issue about aliens in America, etc., etc. Let's look at reality. We are all connected. There is absolutely no two ways about it. Science has proven it. Mathematicians have proven it. I remember seeing a great presentation on the BBC about 4 years ago by Dr. Brian Cox, the famous musician, and he talks about we're all connected. And although we see each other in very sharp form, there's an aura around us because we're giving off something, chemical base or something. And he explained it far better than I've just done there. But in essence, we make something simple out of something very, very complicated. And quantum maths and quantum physics have come together, and they're proving that the whole universe is connected. Is that a surprise? No, not really. With just the thought process, just life on Earth, are we the only being, and I'm not talking about human being, are we the only being in our universe or all of the universes? Remember, there are many universes out there, trillions of universes, so they're saying. Are we all connected? Well, scientists are now saying, well, we're getting gases from Venus. Well, there's a surprise.
Well, I think what you're talking about is probably is a very vast subject. You're talking about aura, and the aura is connected of all living beings. This is true, by the way, because everything boils down to energy. And if we are doing thinking is a part of mind energy. So you're eating food, and then that is converted into thought process, and that thought process is then connected with other person's thought process. So I think it's a connection at the energy level, at a higher level. So we will talk about that some other day, Neville. But I think let's go back to Venus. Why Venus is so exciting? Venus is so exciting because it is just 100 days trip with current technology. We have heard so much about Mars because I have one word for it: surfaces. So, we are obsessed with surfacism. So, because we are able to land on Mars, NASA has sent so many spaceships and probes to study. But the real fact is, the Mars is not suitable for humans to live, simply because there is no atmosphere, there is very little gravity, and there is no water on the surface. Oxygen is a problem. So a whole lot of problems with Mars. Whereas Venus is just 100 days away. With current technology, if you fire a rocket, it's just like 3 months away. Within 3 months, you can reach Venus and you can come back. So now the problem with Venus is it is very hot. It is the hottest planet in the solar system. So you cannot survive on the surface. But where you can survive is 50 kilometers up in the atmosphere. So if somebody is trying to settle on Venus, they have to think of a way to float in the atmosphere, because the temperature is close to Earth's temperature. You don't have to go down. The gravity is equal to Earth gravity. It's a large planet. That is why it is called a sister planet. And then if you can master the way of making a floating city, of floating habitat, you can directly get your oxygen from the atmosphere, convert it using some catalytic converter, and breathe normally. Harness the atmosphere to make your food. So because there is a lot of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere in Venus, and what we eat is carbon. Ultimately, we eat plants, and we eat some of the non-vegetarian friends of mine will eat life forms, animals, which are also made of carbon. So there is a whole lot of carbon in the atmosphere. You can use the 3D print technology to press the button and make your food. So it's very, very logical. So if there are microbes surviving in the atmosphere of Venus, 50 kilometers up in the sky, the chances are you will also survive. So that is why this news is so exciting, Neval.
No, I can see you're getting very animated about it. And the nice thing about this is science fiction is becoming science fact. So I remember as a child watching programs on the TV, things like the Jetsons. I don't know if you ever remember that, where we were living in spaceships literally above our planet. And they weren't in space. They were, half a mile high, and we've proven that from the space station. We've proven that we can live in the space station. I mean, obviously there are issues around that, but we've grown things in the space station that they never thought possible. So lots of scientific research programs are even currently going on in that space station. What I always find fascinating is we're consciously looking above, somewhere else, and yet we know very little about below sea level. We know very little about it. When a volcano erupts, all of a sudden we think, my goodness, what's happening, even with all of the technology that we have. So I think for me, you talking about Venus today and seeing it in the papers, mostly the scientific press, because people think this is a complicated issue. Well, I'm sure Dr. Brian Cox or somebody is going to make it a very simple issue that we can all understand. But what it gets to me is that we are, as a human race, we are progressing science at a phenomenal rate. And as you said, a little bit about energy, and we all know what that is. You put 10 people that are determined to solve a problem in a room, and they come out feeling energized, even if they've been in there for 28 hours. That adrenaline rush that's gone all the way through. Yes, they've had lulls and they've had dips and they've had heights all the way through, but they've succeeded. And it isn't an issue of, one person made the difference. They all made a difference. And that's the thing that excites me about the human race in many respects, because 1 + 1 is greater than 2. And that means 2 + 2 is definitely greater than 5.
Neval, I think the driving force for the humans is the economy, the money. So I think we need to get to other planets to do mining, basically, because something has to drive those space trips, space exploration. So either it is a commercial interest or it is tourism. I don't see any other reason. I mean, you will not go to living your humble abode on Earth, which is so comfortable. You don't need any apparatus to build your oxygen. It's available free. But if you go to Venus, then obviously there has to be some compelling reason. Why people go to Antarctica? Because they want to do something there, right? Somebody is funding them. And that public money is funding their trips. I mean, you can't expect public money to fund somebody's jolly ride to Venus, So it has to be some. There will be a commercial aspect in there somewhere, but the biggest commercial aspect here is if we are going to prolong our race, we need to, number one, start to thinking about our planet, our home residence, what that's doing. One thing we do know is the population is exploding. In the 1960s, I was told there was something like 6 billion people. No, I think 3.5 billion people, something like that on the planet. It's over double that now. So 40 years later, 30 years later, we've doubled.
Now, I'm not saying that that's going to double and double and double, because things like coronavirus has come along, which is a man-made issue. I mean, let's face facts here. We have, because of what's happened, we've created this. Like, antibiotics. There's been lots in the journals out there that's saying the effect of antibiotics is receding. So we need to find something to replace antibiotics. But I think the message for me, like the Venus message here, is science is really progressing at such a phenomenal rate. Everyone's talking about how AI is going to improve this and AI is going to improve that. But I think actually science is overtaking this AI, commercially driven AI discussion. And they're all talking about ethical AI and it needs to be, everyone needs to own it, etc., etc. Well, one thing we can own and push is new science. And let's just congratulate them. They're all can-do people. Boy, are they can-do people to be pushing this type of arena. So take my hat off to all of you scientists out there, and all of you pending scientists, all of you young scientists, the 14 and 15-year-olds that think, do you know what, I really fancy a career in science or engineering. Our advice to you is do it. If you love it, go and do it. Because the job that you love is not a job.
Well, Naval, there are a lot of advancements which are going to happen in AI. And I think I will give one example here, the 3D printing. Now, you know why 3D printing is so important and so exciting? Because, you don't have to carry your gadgets with you. All you have to carry in your spacecraft is a 3D printer and a raw material. So if you have some raw material which can be used by 3D printer to make things. So for example, your toolbox, your spacecraft is a machine and somebody has to fix that machine if it goes, goes south. So you can't carry all the toolbox with you. So what will happen? You have a printer, you have a raw material which can be used by printer to make a tool out of it. And that can be managed from Earth through a signal. So the astronauts in the spacecraft, I need a special spanner because that screw is, it's faulty. I need to replace it. So what these guys have to do on Earth is basically design that spanner, feed the data to using a data link to the 3D printer, and the 3D printer will print that out. So once the job is finished, the astronauts will replace in the raw material and that get recycled. So you don't have to carry your toolbox, equipment, something which you need to replace, something has gone south. You don't have to carry it with you because that is the biggest challenge. So that is why the 3D printing is so exciting, and AI is going to be even more exciting because you need somebody to manage this because suppose there is a human being, he cannot check all the parameters. So you need an intelligence computer system to manage all of that inside the spacecraft as well as outside the spacecraft. What is happening in the sun? Is there going to be a flare which is dangerous for you? So things like that. So something is required to manage all the show, and then you go to Venus and basically do mining, and then who knows, that can be a stepping stone to go to Jupiter, because in Jupiter you can do mining of gases because Jupiter is gas giant as the name suggests. So you need to mine hydrogen. Why hydrogen? Because hydrogen is your fuel for future. So you need to mine hydrogen. You obviously can't go to Sun to mine hydrogen, but you can always go to Jupiter to mine hydrogen. So I think this whole thing is so exciting. You can build floating cities on in the atmosphere of Venus. You can float around, just like the Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back. There's a floating city. Yep. So you can also build a floating city there. So yep. I think this whole thing will open up, and it should, because you raised the point about population doubling. Now, the thing is that we were 1 million people, maybe 10,000 years back. From 1 million people, we have become 7 billion. And the next doubling will happen in next 10 years. The problem is that from 7, we will become 14 billion if we continue the rate of expansion in the same way. As per the studies carried out by the scientists, this planet cannot support more than 12 billion people. So the next doubling will happen and we will consume all the natural resources which are available on this planet. So I think logically we have to spread out in the solar system. That is why this discovery on Venus is so exciting.
Well, it opens up immense opportunity, lots of which are going to be problems. You know, how do we get over it? But I think already, as I said, we're seeing fantastic strides in the science field. Many people never hear about it. You know, it's on, you know, page 52 of your national newspaper, and it's only in the bottom, you know, scientists reveal life on Mars. You know, that would be probably front news, you know, news of the world. That would have put, you know, Elvis has returned or something. But the reality is we are really moving forward fast. And our message, I suppose, my message today is for all of you students at school, at college or university, get out there quick, get out and follow your dream. Follow all these, you know, bits of news that are typically hidden away, but they're not that hidden if you know where to look. So start Googling, start finding out. There are lots of science journals out there that are factual science journals. Some might speculate about what the opportunity might bring, but the point is they're based upon facts. Scientists do like facts. A bit like Sherlock Holmes, give me the facts. Or a good chief exec, give me the facts. I can still make a bad decision, but just give me the facts. So, can you handle the truth? There's another thought for you. But anyway, I think that's probably enough for today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, CK. I've got a very busy day ahead, but more about that tomorrow, maybe.
Sure. Thank you very much, Naval. I think we will end this discussion by giving just one more information about India. In 2 years, India is launching their manned mission to space. So I think it's
wow.
It is very relevant because all youngsters who are, who want to get into space sciences, space technology, I think they can do it in India also.
Well, there you go. I've recently been watching something on Netflix called Away. It's one of these Netflix miniseries. It's an incredibly interesting program. It's where the world actually gets together and goes to Mars. I won't say anything else about it, but if you're interested in Netflix, go and binge it because it says a lot about collaboration. It says a lot about competition and it says a lot about human nature. So anyway, again, great speaking with you this morning, CK. Enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Naval. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.